Chapter 7. Running Away. I will allow the child Ruth was then to tell her own story about the day she ran away. In our lunch break at school, we took it in turns to pretend to be different people. The others had to try and guess who they were supposed to be. They thought I was very good at it. I had them all laughing and laughing. "Oh, Ruth, that's brilliant!" Liesl nearly wet herself. That made us all laugh even more. Liesl wasn't very hungry. She gave me one of her Leberwurst sandwiches. It tasted so good. I ate it really slowly. I made it last as long as I possibly could. It was a good day at school. I had the top marks for my poem. It's called Spring in Grüne. Herr Engel made me read it out in front of the class. All the children clapped. I felt very proud and happy. Now school is finished for today. I'm free. I love school, but it's such a sunshiny day. There's rosy blossom on the trees. Remind me of Aschenputtel's dress when she goes to the ball and meets the prince. My best friend Friedel and I skip along Jungenstrasse. We stand under a tree. It's dripping with pink flowers. We imagine we are the little ash girl. Blossoms fall like confetti. We pick up the fallen blooms. We put some in our hair and tuck some into our dresses. Friedel looks more like Aschenputtel because of her fair hair. She says I look like Schneewittchen. That's because I've got black hair, white skin and rosy cheeks. We both secretly believe we are princesses. We talk about what will happen when one day our handsome princes will come to Rotummenschloss. They'll find us, give us lots of lovely food to eat and beautiful dresses to wear, and take us away to live happily ever after. In Rotermund Park, the trees have pale new leaves. They're peeping out of fat, sticky buds, like the ones Herr Engel brought into our classroom. They're too far up where we can't reach. We fling ourselves on our back at the top of the hill. The branches seem to touch the sky. When we're bored with that, we roll ourselves down the grassy slope. Giggling and whooping, we roll towards the back door of the children's home. We quickly brush the grass from each other's back and hair, then knock on the door to be let in. The kitchen is filled with the smell of stew. It's cooking in big pots on the stove. Phooey! It doesn't smell nice. I know it won't taste good, but I know that I'll be hungry enough to eat it. In the middle of the kitchen floor is one of the tin bathtubs. It's filled with soapy water, and the birch floats in it. Someone's been naughty. Who is that for? I'm happy. My conscience is clear. I can't believe what Tante Erika says. You. It's for you, Ruth. After supper, you are to go immediately to Hausmutter's room. I look at Friedel. She shakes her head. Why? What has Ruth done? She asks. Never you mind. Friedel takes my hand. I'm shaking all over. I am so frightened of violence and pain. By the late afternoon, I can't stand it any longer. I walk out of the children's home alone and without a penny in my pocket or even wearing a coat. The sun is shining and I'm happy that I have escaped. I turn the corner and run and run. A little way down the road I meet Irmgard Trostatius. She's on her way back to the children's home. I'm panting from running so hard. I tell her what has happened. And I don't know why they want to beat me. I won't let them do it. I won't. So I'm running away. Irmgard grins. She puts her arm around my shoulders. I've got a good idea, she says. We'll run away together. My mother lives near the Hauptbahnhof, main train station. We can go there. It won't take too long if we go through Großer Garten. Suddenly, this feels like an exciting adventure. Irmgard and I are escaping from the children's home. We walk through the long avenues of the Grossergarten. It seems to go on for miles. We pass the rectangular lakes of the Japanese palace. There are people out walking their dogs and nannies with prams and little children feeding ducks and chatting beside the lake. It's a long walk. When we get tired, we leak hands. We swing them to the rhythm of our singing. Wenn der Frühling kommt, von der Bergen schaut. This is a round, if the spring is nigh, from the mountains spy. Irmgard has such a lovely voice. She's very musical. I think that's what makes us kindred spirits. She's very pretty too. We sing in harmony, like Herr Engel taught us. People stop. They smile as we pass them. I believe they think we have voices of angels. I'm feeling happy. The sun sinks behind the trees. Lights begin to appear in the houses at the edge of the park. It's getting colder, and I'm feeling hungry. I wish I had my coat. Over there, Irmgard says after we've left the park behind. The station lights are ahead of us. Just before we get there, we turn down a side road. There is the apartment block where Irmgard's mother lives. How lovely it must be to have your mother living so close to the children's home. We begin banging on the shuttered windows of her apartment. We call at the top of our voices, Frau Tostasias! Frau Tostasias! Nothing happens. Let's try again. Irmgard beats her fists against the wooden shutters. Mutti! Mutti! Frau Tostatias! At last the shutters open and a stranger's face looks out on us. What do you want? The woman seems quite friendly, but Irmgard looks shocked. Where's my mother? Oh, my dear, I'm afraid she doesn't live here any more. The woman frowns. She moved away 2 weeks ago. She lives on the outskirts of the city now. Didn't she tell you? Irmgard looks as if she doesn't know whether to cry or to be angry. Do you know her address? I ask. I can see that Irmgard can't speak. As a matter of fact, I do have it. Wait there, I will get it for you. It wouldn't be any use anyway. We haven't got any money for the Straßenbahn, Irmgard says miserably. The woman smiles at us kindly. Don't you worry about that, my little ones. I'll give you some money for the tram fare. Just wait a moment. Soon we're thanking her. We run towards the station where the tram stops. Irmgard is still upset. As we wait for the right tram, she keeps asking, how could she do that? How could she just move away without telling me? The tram trundles through the bright city centre, and then it goes into darker places. We've never been here before. We stare out at the passing night. I try to work out where we are, but I have no idea. At last we realize that we are only one stop from the terminus. We get off and watch as the tram's light disappears. Now we are alone, shivering in the pitch blackness. It's very dark. I can't see a thing. After a while, our eyes get used to it. We can see the shapes of trees and fences. A little way off, a few windows are showing lights at uncurtained windows. We can't find a way of reaching them. Irmgard suggests we climb the fence. She's much taller than I am. It's easier for her, but somehow I make it too. As we jump down into the field, our feet sink into the newly dug earth. Himmel! Heavens! I hope we don't damage the plants, whispers Irmgard. We scrape mud off our shoes onto the grass. As we near the buildings, we start shouting, Frau Tostias! Frau Tostias! Several windows open. Angry people peer out at us. Who's making all that noise this time of night? What's going on? We're looking for Frau Tostias. She moved here 2 weeks ago. I have her address. I know a Frau Tostias, a voice comes out of the darkness. giving the name of a road and telling us how to get there. "Thank you, thank you." Eventually, we find the right block of flats, but there are no lights to be seen anywhere, and the front door is locked. The bank of bells by the door confuses us. Irmgard shrugs and presses the first one. After a few moments, a light comes on in the porch. A bleary-eyed man, who happens to be the porter, comes to the door, dressed in his pyjamas and a shabby dressing gown. He's furious with us. "Upstairs," is all he says to our query as he lets us in. He locks the door behind us, returning, grumbling, to his bed. We run up the stairs looking for a door plaque with Trustius on it. Halfway up the stairs, the lights go out. We don't know on which floor she lives, so we grope our way carefully from door to door, feeling the engraved nameplates with our fingertips. We go quietly, afraid that people will hear us and come out to see what's going on. Not until we reach the very top of the building do we find the name we're looking for. Irmgard rings the bell. Much to her relief, the door is opened by her mother. Seeing us there, appearing unexpectedly out of the night, gives Frau Trustius a shock. We tell her our story. She makes us sandwiches and a cup of sweet, hot cocoa, which is very welcome, and makes up a bed for Irmgard. I sleep on a wooden sofa, bolstered with lots of cushions, in the living room. The moon is a silver globe shining through the net curtains, and I fall asleep feeling safe. The next morning, the police arrive, and we are returned to the children's home. When we get there, I race to the lavatories and lock myself in, hoping to be secure from the impending beating. But, of course, I can't stay in there forever. I am taken to the Hausmutter's room, where I'm told to remove my knickers and lie face down on the couch. Then the toughest and strongest of the aunts gives me a thrashing on my bare popo. I scream and scream and scream until at last she stops. At the very moment that she stops, there is a persistent ringing on the front door bell. I hear a woman's voice demanding to know what is going on. I heard screaming, "What is being done to the children in this place?" I don't hear the answer. I'm crying too much. When Hans arrives home from school, he is furious with me. "You didn't think about me, how I would feel with you gone," he says. "I didn't sleep at all last night worrying about you." I shrug, looking out of the window at the trees in the Rotermund Park, pretending that everything is fine, that my bottom isn't still burning from the lengthy thrashing it has received. "It was nothing. You needn't have worried. They had the police out looking for you. How did you think I would feel? Anything could have happened to you. I couldn't do any work at school today. All I could think about was whether I'd ever see my sister again." I feel guilty that he is so upset. When I ran away, I never thought about what effect it would have on my brother. I'm still outraged at the injustice of my punishment, because even now I don't know why I was beaten. Later on, I found out. Someone must have gone to the Hausmutter and told her that I'd been mimicking her in school by showing the other children the funny faces she pulls every time she puts on her spectacles, and copying the peculiar noises she makes while she does it. I had just thought it was funny, and all the other children laughed. I didn't think for a moment that it could have such terrible consequences.